There have been new developments with the 457 visas recently. We invited our specialist immigration lawyer, Mr. Susantha Katugampala, in our studios to let us know all the new rules and regulations. Good morning and welcome to our program, Susantha.
Good morning, Derek.
Susantha, now the process of the 457 visa is getting harder. What's the trend?
Yes, absolutely. Since November 2015, last year, the government has introduced some new legislative changes to 457 visa process and introduced new criteria. The government wants to stop sponsors, the employers accepting money for visas. So therefore, when a company is applying for a sponsorship and nomination of a position, the immigration department is always looking at whether it's a genuine position. And therefore, there are many refusals in the last few months, and the government's taking a very hard line in this 457 process in light of these changes. And these changes had happened due to the abuse of the 457 visa process. There were many abuses. Some visa applicants offering money to Australian employers to sponsor them, and vice versa. The employers are taking money, large sums of money from visa applicants, which is not right, and that will undermine the actual 457 visa process in the country. So therefore, the government has passed these new legislations. The 457 visa process has 3 steps. A sponsorship. A company want to sponsor someone from overseas need to be an approved sponsor, and they need to satisfy the financial requirements, and also they need to prove that they have commitment to train Australian citizens within the business. And then 2, they need to have an approved nomination for the actual position. In that nomination, the company need to prove that the position is a genuine position, and that position requires someone from overseas to fill that position within the company. And the 3rd requirement is the visa application. And then the visa applicant should have the right skills, either qualification or work experience. And there's no age limit for 457. And the government's taking a hard line, especially on the nomination side, where the nomination can be refused as a non-genuine position unless you prove otherwise. Okay. So it's up to the onus is on the employers to prove that the employer needs this particular position to be filled by an overseas employee. Yeah. That's the challenge that you're facing with the 457 visa process.
So how do you avoid this problem? What are the solutions?
Yes, to avoid this problem, that this has been a problem sadly, because when the government's taking a hard line, while they refuse the non-genuine applicants and the companies, there are many genuine applicants and the companies also being refused. Therefore, there were many complaints to the department and to the minister and to the secretary of the minister by the Lawyers Association and also the Migration Agents Association. And as a result of that, I think the government is taking some sort of concessional approach now, and part of that is the government has introduced a new form that has come out last week, and I would like to show you that form. And that form is basically talking about paying for visa sponsorships. That means a visa applicant need to sign a declaration that they have not paid any large sums of money, to the sponsor to obtain a visa. And they also need to indirectly prove from the employer that the employer has not taken any money from this visa applicant. I think this is a very good solution, because if this commitment or undertaking is signed by the visa applicant, then the government should not delay this visa process and should approve these visas. But in case that it is found that a visa applicant has misled the government by signing the wrong declaration, then certainly there can be consequences, action against the visa. The visa can be cancelled, or that may affect their permanent residence. Even the permanent residence visas can be cancelled if you provided wrong information or wrong documents. So until you become a citizen, if you provided fraud documents, fraud information, incorrect information, your visa can be cancelled. And if you are a citizen, your citizenship can be revoked. If you are involved in a criminal activity, again it's a terrorist activity and breach of national security. Other than that, then you're safe. But certainly if you're holding a temporary visa or permanent visa, you have to make sure that you're providing the Australian government, the Department of Immigration and Border Protection, the correct and truthful information. Sometimes people have problems, but certainly this problem can be encountered and solved by putting certain arguments by their lawyers or experienced agents. But it's important that always provide the correct and true information to get your visa. That's the change coming.
The declaration form.
Declaration form in 457 area now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Susantha. I was under the impression that if you had the 457 visa for 2 years and you work for 2 years, do you get your PR straight away?
Yes, you're eligible to apply for PR. You don't get the PR automatically. There's no automatic permanent residence grant, but the same employer needs to nominate the person for employee nomination. And the subclass 186 or 187. 186 is the employer nomination scheme. 187 is the regional sponsored migration scheme. Then you can obtain your permanent residence after 2 years. And the transition stream. And there are concessions. If someone is on a 457 visa for 2 years, then certainly they have English exemptions. They don't have to have high level of English. They don't have to have a skill assessment. Otherwise, they can apply for direct permanent residence under employer nomination scheme, subject to they have a skill assessment plus 3 years experience plus your right English level. So these things can be exempted if you're on a 457 and applying for PR after 2 years. No automatic grant, but still you're eligible to apply subject to your employer supports your case.
Thank you, Susantha. It's been very interesting talking to you. Our viewers always get the valuable information, and also let me thank you for giving us your time, valuable time this morning.
Thank you to you and to Sri Lanka Morning Show. Aibowan.
Aibowan.